Hey guys, welcome back to TomGirl. This is episode 34 and we're with Brett Tudor. He is a new carpenter on Trading Spaces. He's an adventurist, host, survivalist. He just does it all. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
And this is one of his songs right here.
I recognize that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
People come, people go.
It's so emotional.
It is in the signs that get you.
Yeah.
For you guys just listening, you have to tune into the YouTube and look at this video as well. The song is called Firefly. We're going to talk more about your music later. We'll come back to this. But first of all, welcome, Brett. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Where can people follow you on social media?
Oh, goodness. Probably Instagram, really, is where I actually do the most stuff. So just my name, Brett Tudor, Tutor on Instagram, and that's about it.
And it's a fun Instagram, guys, so you should check it out. Some great shots on there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's first talk about the big news around town.
Yes.
So Trading Spaces is back after a decade of being off, and you are the new, taking over Ty, the role of the hunky carpenter. You're in.
It's crazy. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You know, he's, because he comes back for a couple episodes, you know, and I was in middle school and high school when the show was airing, so all of a sudden I'm next to Ty Pennington. I was so nervous, you know, so nervous. And so it was so cool to be around like one of your heroes, you know, and he couldn't have been cooler. So it's still not real. I don't know. It's still been crazy. I don't know, but it was fun.
Did he give you any advice?
You know what? I actually would have thought he would have been a little more empathetic, but he makes you earn it, you know, because one of the best things about Trading Spaces is the authenticity of the show. You know, we don't have secret people behind doing the work for us, blah, blah, blah. Like, carpenter doesn't get it done, it doesn't get done. If you don't finish the painting, it makes for good TV. They don't care, you know, so it's a lot of pressure that you get everything done. And so my first episode, actually my first two, technically, I don't know if I was supposed to talk about it, but whatever, are with Ty. And he gives me, a challenge would be an understatement, pretty much impossible tasks, things I had to build. And the point is that, you know, like, I'm so lucky to be there, really. I mean, there's a lot of guys that build stuff and can do carpentry work, and that do it, you know, they've been doing it their whole lives. And so I consider myself very fortunate to be there. So they make you earn it a little bit. And so he did that, and you'll see it on the show. And he couldn't have been cooler. He couldn't have been sweeter. We've kind of become pretty good friends, but he made me earn it. He put me through the gauntlet for sure. I was sweating bullets.
What are you looking forward to most about being a part of the show?
I think I can't wait for people to see it. You know, really, I think we had so much fun shooting it. And I had watched a little bit of it, you know, when I was younger, but not a ton. And I didn't really realize how big of a deal it was and how many people love the show. And so then we start filming, and people are going nuts about it, and they know everybody. And I'm meeting everybody for the most part for the first time. And we started to film a little bit and do the work, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for people to watch this, because so much fun stuff happens. We make so many mistakes. It's all real. You know, I'm building stuff, and I was bleeding on the back of stuff. And it's just it's real life, you know. They kind of created the reality TV genre in a sense. They were really doing it. And I think a lot of these newer shows, these home renovation shows, they have such a big budget, and they're doing these $100,000, $500,000 renovations, and they have all these people behind the scenes working on this stuff, and it's so beautiful, and that's great. But you're like, what about me? Like, I can't afford that. Like, you know. And so I think this show kind of comes full circle, where people are gonna see crazy fun people, and they're gonna see the best designers on the planet in a $2,000 budget with a 2-day time frame, and that forces stress, but it also forces creativity. And I think that what you get from that are going to be unbelievable episodes, unbelievable reactions from homeowners. But when you watch it, I think every single episode are going to say, oh my God, I can do that at my house. I can totally do that. And it was Like I built a wine rack, and they were like, Brett, can you build us, like, how much was that? That was so cool. And I was like, it literally was $12. It was made of 2x4s, and you can do it in your garage. You know, so it's that stuff that I think people can not only have a blast with the whole family. Kids can watch it, guys will love it, I think women will love it. But I think it's really practical is if you're wanting to learn stuff for your own home. And so that's what I'm excited about. I want to see people like try it in their own house and stuff like that.
For those people, because it has been a big decade gap since it's been on, tell everybody a little bit more about the premise of the show for those who may not know.
Yeah, so the premise of the show is you get two families and they come out. So let's say it's a father and a son and they live by each other. They come out, Paige Davis, the host, the original host, they get the keys and they switch. So the son would go to the father's house, the father goes to the son's house. They switch houses for 2 nights. Then each family gets assigned a celebrity interior designer, and then those designers get a celebrity carpenter each. And you got $2,000 in 2 days, and that's it. And it's not like kind of $2,000, but really we're gonna sneak some. No, they're like, we have to return stuff. You know, Paige like will not tolerate anybody trying to get around it. And then when that time's up, you're done. And as a carpenter, you know, you want to make that designer, you know, build them all, get everything done, and you don't want these people coming into there, because then they come back after 2 days. So the father goes back into his house, the son goes back into their house, and it's their real house. And, you know, they have this big reveal. I'm like, what did they do? And so that other person gets to input their ideas of the design, what his father might like or what his son might like. But then they have the designer too saying, no, we can't do that. So there's a lot of, you know, kind of tugging and pulling for creativity. And I think just the timeline itself, the budget itself, it created all sorts of drama. But I think that what people are going to love is that it's real and it's so authentic. I mean, it's just so authentic, you know, and I think people are really going to see. And I was just so impressed with the talent of these designers, what they can do with reclaimed material. And I'm sitting there like, you know, they're like, all right, Brett, you're done. I'm like, no, I want to stay. I want to learn how to upholster. I just realized I don't have to buy a new couch. It's totally possible from your upholsterer. I never thought about it. And so it's things like that where there's so many good things to take home from it.
Now, you might not be able to say this because it may be a spoiler, but I think it's kind of, you know, it's risky letting somebody else come into your house and design for you.
Yeah.
Anybody like, can you tell they just didn't like it or did not like the taste of somebody did to their house?
Yeah. We had a couple situations. Yeah, there was, I can't give away any details, but, you know, people have their specific tastes. You know, if somebody came into my house and renovated, you know, it's hard, you know, because people like what they like. And this is a chance also for these designers these aren't your average designers. These aren't like, hey, I just graduated community college with a design degree. I'm going to go paint your cabinets white and make a white tile backsplash and put in granite countertops. These are artists. Like, these are people that were for decades. These weren't like actors that became designers. These were designers for decades and decades. This is what they do. And so this is like their chance to really create and do something different and original. And that's not where everybody's head's at with their own house, you know? So there's definitely a little bit of that. I mean, Hildy, one of the designers in the original show, put hay all over a wall one time, and that person started bawling. And so you never know. It's hard to please everybody, but it's a lot of fun.
And that makes for good TV.
It does. It does. It's going to be good. I know that. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, tell everybody you have a release date now. So when is it on?
April 7th. I don't know what camera to look at, but April 7th. That one, April 7th. It's official. It's happening. So.
And you know how many episodes?
We're doing 8. Yeah. There's going to be some stuff online too, so there'll be a lot of different kind of channels you can watch it digitally as well as on TLC. But April 7th, check it out. It's going to be crazy.
Awesome. All right, can't wait for that. Okay, well, other reasons I brought you here, just because in doing a course, we have like I've seen you all over now, and you've been already labeled like the hunky carpenter. That he'll be. I think one of them was like you'll want to watch him sweat and things like that. But there's a lot more behind just this rugged, handsome face. So I want to go back to your early days. So already at 12, you were like a nationally ranked pro golfer, #1. You won your thing. So let's go back to little Brett.
Yeah, little Brett. We had kind of a wild childhood, I guess. I had an older brother, and a younger sister. But we started playing golf really early. My dad was a big golfer, so we just started playing really early. And I loved to compete, and me and my brother would go play all the time. And we started playing in tournaments. And then, I won this thing called the UCT International. It's like the Junior International Tournament. And I won it. And I think I was 12 years old. And but I stopped playing. Like 3 years later. But yeah, golf was a big part of my early childhood.
And BMX and
yeah. So my parents actually divorced when I was 14. So that's kind of when I, started to kind of notice girls a little bit. Kind of stopped playing golf and started playing football and baseball and then we lived on some land in a small town in Texas. And my brother and I, like for our birthdays and Christmas, we wouldn't get presents. We would get dirt. We would get shipments of dirt, so trucks would come in and bring dirt. We had like a motocross track in our backyard, so we competed in BMX, and we had like a couple pros come out to our track. Like that's how good our track was. So we would be like, it's cool, be like, we just got to get home and work on the jumps, So we had this incredible track in our backyard, lots of broken bones. But yeah, that was crazy. We were completely out of control.
I read that you also said your high school friends, you were renowned for mischief. So I want to know what one of your favorite childhood stories was.
Gosh, I have so many. To give you an idea, oh my God, I'm going to get arrested. We used to, here's a fun one. I have a lot. I'm trying to think which one I shouldn't say. But we had this bridge in this neighborhood, and it was on this golf course in Georgetown, Texas. And it was a low water bridge, so it was a creek, and the bridge kind of went down. And so when it would flood in this river, it would go over the bridge. So the city had these gates that they would close when it would flood, so nobody went across the bridge. But when it wasn't flooding, they would keep the gates locked open. So we came up with a very intelligent idea. I think we were 15. Or 16, something like that we were going to lock a police officer on the bridge. And so that was the plan. And this was totally normal for what we were up to. And so we got some bolt cutters, got a new lock, and we got a box of donuts and a little fold-out table.
It's like bait, right?
No disrespect to any cops out there. Oh, we were kids. But we cut the chain. It's like 3 a.m, and we locked the bottom gate. And then I remember I called the cops on myself, and we were like, there's these damn kids down there smoking cigarettes, probably drinking Zima, and we need to send a squad car down here immediately. And so luckily they came in from the right direction. And so we were ready, we'd got the other gate locked. So we locked this bottom one, and then we put a table up with a big box of donuts on it, and we said, good luck getting off the bridge. I don't know what else they wrote. It probably wasn't very nice. And then so we waited about 30 minutes, and we're hiding in the bushes. We had like camo face paint on and the whole thing. And the police officer came down, gets out of the car, and you hear this clink, lock. And so we locked the top. And so we locked him on this bridge. And I'm in the bushes with the video camera, and I'm so scared. I'm shaking. And that one we actually totally got away with it. And he ended up backing up and driving on the riverbank, going over a golf course through a residential yard, and then getting on the street. And we waited for like 30 minutes, an hour maybe, and he never came back. And so we got away with that one. We did it again, and we got caught. And so
you pushed your luck.
Yeah,
you just had to.
But we had a blast. I mean, if we had nothing to do. Did you ever play Ding Dong Ditch? Ding Dong Ditch.
Ring the doorbell? Yeah.
We would play Ding Dong Don't Ditch. And so you would go up to a doorbell, and late at night, you'd ring it. And the game was you can't say anything and you can't run. So the first one to run away loses. So you would just have to sit there. And so somebody would come out and be like, what do you want? It's 10 p.m. And you start laughing every time uncontrollably. So you just start cracking up, and eventually somebody will just run away, and then they lose, and then you run away together. It was always fun like that. It was a really fun childhood. So I was lucky growing up in a small town. It was fun.
Yeah. New small town games for you guys out there. I'm from Nebraska.
Don't do it.
So
Yeah, don't. No.
Taking notes, kids. Educational here. That's what we are. All right, so let's do a little more of your story. So then you also went to Hawaii, where you tried MMA for a while, a little cage fighting and stuff.
Yeah, brilliant ideas. Now that I think about them, I needed to get out of Texas. I was tiny town, hadn't traveled anything like that, and I tried to go to a junior college for I think one semester, and it wasn't. I mean, we were wild kids, and by the time I got to college, like I wanted to go do something. I wanted to get out there and go see the world, and I just go experience the world and life, and school just wasn't for me. And so my two best friends, the guys who helped me, the guys with me that when we locked the police officer on the bridge, the same two guys, we had all gone to a semester of college, and we came back together, and we were like, man, we had way more fun in high school. Like, college sucks. Everybody just wants to drink and party, which is fine, but like, kind of want to do something cooler than that. And so my buddy goes, hey, I just got accepted randomly to the University of Hawaii at Hilo. And I had never been anywhere really. And so we start looking it up, and at the time, MMA there wasn't like, the UFC was just kind of getting started, and it was before it kind of became too well known. And we looked up, and there was BJ Penn, who was at the time, I believe, the UFC middleweight champion, I believe, of the world. And his academy, his training academy, was right next to the university. And so we go, y'all, I guess we're moving to Hawaii and we're going to be cage fighters. Like, let's just, okay. It literally was that quick. And then I think 2 weeks later, we all three moved there, and we lived in basically a kitchen. I used to sleep on an air mattress, and they used to, so I would sleep on the air mattress, and I would always wake up to this, and it would be deflating. And what they would do is they would take my pump to inflate the air mattress, and they would hide it. Like every night. And then in the middle of the night when I was sleeping, they would unplug, the plug for the air mattress so it would deflate. And then we would have like a game where I would be like, they're like, we'll tell you where the pump is if you cook fish tomorrow night. And so it was miserable. It was awful. Like, I never slept. But yeah, we started training at BJ Penn's Academy, and we were it was a different environment than anything I had experienced before, because it's a very local Hawaiian place. And if you've ever kind of been to some of those areas, and I love traditional Hawaiians with all of my heart, but there's some areas where they don't like white people. I mean, they just don't want, they call them haoles, and there's a lot of angst against that, and some is justified, but whatever. But it was really, I think, a healthy thing for me to be on the other side of that. Coming from a small town in Texas, not that I experienced any racism where I was from at all, but it was still a very small town. And just to get to, I think it's just good to experience that, because I think it helps with some empathy. But yeah, we started just like, yeah, we play football, we lift weights, blah, blah, blah. We can be fighters, and they beat the crap out of us just over and over and over, and we just kept coming back. And we loved it, and so we just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. I remember my first fight. I fought this guy who was training for something called Rumble on the Rock, which is a Hawaiian tournament, and we went a few rounds, and it got pretty intense. And then I remember I went in the bathroom in this little, like, it was pretty gross, but I threw up. I was throwing up for like 30 minutes. And I remember being in there and be like, maybe this isn't the career for me, And like, there's guys that, like, you start to realize, like, I was a pretty tough kid, but like, there's guys that have to do that. And I was like, maybe I don't have to do this. Maybe I can do something else, And so, yeah, but it was a great experience. I loved it. I still train jiu-jitsu. But we got our butts kicked, but it was amazing. It was awesome.
And then what was your decision to then pursue going to the Air Force?
It was right after that, actually. I was at a coffee shop, and I don't know why, but for some reason I kept I kept thinking about going on like a relief trip or like going. I kind of got the travel bug in me from Hawaii, and and we were in a very non-touristy area, so there was a lot of Asian culture and Japanese culture, and I really started to kind of appreciate that, and I became more and more curious the more I kind of saw. And I don't remember how it happened, but I remember I was at a coffee shop, and I just knew that like I have to go to Africa. Like I don't know why. I still don't know why exactly. I'm so glad I did, but I get these random convictions out of nowhere sometimes. I don't know. I learned to listen to them, but I don't really know why all the time. But
No, that's good. Listening to your gut.
right,
you know?
yeah. So it's so I found this really rad group called it was an adventure relief trip type of thing, and so I didn't have any money, so I called everybody I knew and basically begged them. I think I had to raise like $2,000, and for some reason I was able. It was like the last hour I had to send it in. I got it. It was really like serendipitous the way it all kind of happened, and so and I'm this country kid from the middle of nowhere, Texas, and I've been in Hawaii for about a year and a half at that time, and I all of a sudden I just wind up in Nairobi, around a bunch of people I've never met before, and it was immediately. I mean, just if you've ever been there, like you see things just driving through Nairobi that you didn't even, or I didn't even think were going on in the world, and it wakes you up pretty quick. And we started doing some relief work, kind of around some different areas, and we were there for most of the summer. And I was young, I was like 20 years old, but we go to a place called Kibera, and it was, at the time, it was the second largest slum on the planet. And I remember there were something like 500,000 orphans within a few miles radius. I mean, it was just numbers where you're like, you hear stuff like that, but it's hard for that to really sink in until you kind of see it, experience it physically a little bit, I think. And so being there, you just see these kids in these orphanages, and you're just like, your heart's just ripping out of your chest, and it was just brand new to me. And there was maybe that was a thing. Like I just wanted to get my heart broke. I needed to go see this stuff. I needed to go see what, like I could have just gone to college and drank and had a good time, but like there was something in me, like I wanted to see the bad too. I want to see the reality of the way the world is. And you're not really able to articulate that stuff maybe when you're 19, 20 years old, but I realized that we were really helping a few people. And if you get past because people were like telling me not to go and it's dangerous and what are you going to do? You're not a doctor. Like you can't really do anything. This is more for you type of, and it was very much for me. But you start to realize that like it may not be my role to change the economy of these other countries, or the government or certain types of systems. And maybe one day I'll be in a position to be a part of that. But you can change the lives of a couple people. And that's 100% true. And anybody who tells you different is full of crap. Like you absolutely can. I mean, you can get a kid an education for $20 a year, or he doesn't get educated, like and that's going on right this second, right now, and so it just, it was huge for me because I realized that I want to do something bigger than just go to college, get a job, make money, and I knew I wanted to help people somehow. And I didn't have any skills at all, except a little bit of construction stuff, and we were building some stuff. And, you think, it feels like you're doing all this good stuff because you're framing it, but like, it's just a structure. They don't need you there. They know how to build it themselves. They don't, they can probably do it better than I could have done it times 10, as far as like, using local material and being more efficient. And, but I decided that I was going to do something big. And I came back and I remember I had a day, I went to the Army recruiter, the Marine recruiter, the Navy recruiter, the Coast Guard recruiter, and the Air Force recruiter. And I was thinking about the Peace Corps, and I was thinking about maybe try to go in the CIA or the Secret Service, and I just kind of had this day where I was I went and talked to all of them. And you go in the Marines, you're like, hey, boy, how many push-ups can you do? And I was like, I don't think this is for me, you know? And you know, we need everybody, you know. People are different, and God, you know, thank God we have different types of people. But where I felt like I fit in was when the Air Force was talking to me about the pararescue program, and it was a special operations program, but it's search and rescue based. And so they do civilian search and rescue, they do combat search and rescue, they work with the special forces community, and I liked the high speed, the high training, the secret stuff, the tip of the spear type thing, how difficult it was. You got skydive and scuba dive, do all this cool stuff, be a medic. But I like the idea for me personally that whatever I would be doing was would be rescue mission, right? And so regardless of any kind of politics or whatever, that just sat well with me. And so trained my butt off, and I was living in Honolulu at the time, and I enlisted from Honolulu, and I remember the recruiter said, like, here's some duty stations. There's Italy, there's Okinawa, Japan, there's Iceland, there's Alaska. And I was like, yes, those, all
Sign
in
me up,
those.
yeah.
Italy sounds cool. And I was like, yes. And I get stationed in San Antonio, Texas. And I was like, no, I thought I was going to be in Italy with these beautiful
Not even
women.
different state, yeah.
And so I was in San Antonio, Texas, and all of a sudden I'm getting screamed at because I'm not cleaning the toilet right. And I was like, I was just in Honolulu surfing like a day ago. What the hell did I do? You know, and but it was so good for me. And I think that a lot of people talk about discipline, and I think that's kind of got a bad rap, but I realize that discipline isn't doing what you're told, you know, it's learning that you're not the center of the freaking universe, you know, and that's kind of what it did for me. And then I got into the pararescue. Actually, the first day I got put in charge of 60 guys, which was super stressful. If you're going into basic, you don't get paid to be in a leadership position, so I would just keep your head down. But I learned a lot from it, so I can't say that. But we went to the pararescue program and absolutely fell in love with it. Started getting tendonitis in my Achilles tendon, and I probably should have stopped and tried to roll back to the next team. But you get so close with your team and your guys that you just want to press on. And then I lost about half my Achilles. It unraveled, and I couldn't walk. I remember I was duct taping my calf muscle for a while, and finally they drugged me in. They're like, dude, you're never going to be able to walk again if you don't stop. And I was like, I'm never going to stop. Yeah. And they're like, nah, you got to stop that. They're like, you can come back though if you can get a medical clearance and things like that. So I took a medical discharge, and then I got out, and that's when I went to carpentry school. I was super depressed because that was it for me. It made sense to me. It's just like I was helping people, but I was doing cool stuff. I was going to get to skydive, scuba dive, and travel. And so I actually had a cane. I think I was 21, and I had a cane. It took me a while for that Achilles to heal. And then, so I went to carpentry school in Austin at a community college. And so I really have always had a passion for it. When I was in Hawaii, I had a buddy that was making longboards out of what's called koa wood. And this type of koa wood is native to Hawaii. And it's just really beautiful. So I got to help him a little bit. And I kind of found that passion for woodworking. And so I went to carpentry school, and I was like, it'd be cool to I don't know. I just loved it. And I didn't have to use my Achilles, you know, so I started doing that. And I started framing houses. I was remodeling houses for a couple investors, and I was working my butt off. And as you know, framing houses it sounds cool, but I mean, you get home and you're tired. You're too tired to pee. Like you just sit on the bed and you're tired. And it's 110 degrees in the summer, and it's just brutal. And I have so much respect for those guys that are still doing it. And so I was doing that, and I just decided that I loved it. I kind of enjoyed it, but I wasn't happy. And I knew that I had I couldn't tolerate being unhappy, right? So I had a friend of mine who would go to the Central Oregon for an organization called Discovery Outfitters, where they took kids whitewater rafting and rock climbing. And they're like, hey man, if you're healed up, like, you want to come do it for the summer? And I was like, yes, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just need a
Cool.
change, need to go
Water,
right, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so I went and did that, and that's really where I fell in love with nature. I fell in love with surfing when I was living in Hawaii. I was surfing every day, but when I was in Oregon, spending, you know, we're taking these people on these 3-day trips, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and the stars are amazing, and you're, you know, learning survival stuff and learning how to use natural elements and cooking in the middle of nowhere. And what was really cool is it was really good for me, you know, just be out there. It's very therapeutic, you know, I think for anybody. But it was still adventurous, still exciting, and doing the rock climbing stuff at Smith Rock in Oregon. And did a lot of mountain climbing, and I love Oregon. I fell in love with it. And then but I loved working with the kids. Like, that was such a cool part of it. And they kept giving me like the inner city tough little punks, which were my favorite. And I would
break them?
I did. Like, I would let them fight. I got in trouble, actually. I would let them, you know, you're on a whitewater rafting raft. And so I'd flip it upside down, let them fight. And we would all just fight and get after it. And I knew that they needed to get some energy out, you know. And then I learned to give them responsibility. So I'd let them guide the boat. And then they would guide the boat, and they would start, you would see them, their eyes would change. They would start to get some confidence. And I really connected to that. And it was really fun to see that transformation between like what just wilderness and a positive environment can do for a kid that age. Because I'd been there before, you know. I know what it's like to be 14 and, you know, not know what's going on and be an angry little punk. And so that was really amazing. And so I decided to stay in Oregon. And I was going to be a firefighter, was the plan. And then there was actually a Air Force pararescue unit in Oregon. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll stay here, I'll do this guide stuff, I'll get my paramedic, I'll get on a fire department, and then I'll go back in the Air Force. Train up, get in shape, get my EMT stuff, retested with this pararescue unit in Oregon. And then so they said, cool, we pass it, rock and roll. They're like, yeah, we'd love to have you. And then I had to send in a packet for a medical waiver because of my Achilles, and they declined it. So the Air Force said no, because it's a chronic condition. So I was just like, oh, I gotta move on. I gotta do something else, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a firefighter. So I go apply to be a firefighter in Portland, and then Bend, and then Prineville and Sisters, Oregon, and like it was just like door closing. And I was like, what? I'll be the best in the world. I promise. Like, I work harder than anybody, and it just door just kept closing. And to the point where I decided to move back to Austin. I was like, well, maybe I can get on a fire department in Texas, and I knew I could always go do home inspections there. My grandpa was a home inspector, and so I was like, well, maybe I could go be a home inspector. That's where I'm from. Like, probably easier to get on a fire department. And I'll do home inspections part-time. And so I go back and interviewed with the fire department. I thought I killed the interview. It went great, but it was like, hey, we had like 5,000 guys apply for like 11 positions or something like that. And so it was just this weird thing. I was like, I'm going to be a firefighter, but it's just the door just would not open for me. And so I started doing home inspections, and I went from doing like 1 a week to doing 2 a week. And then I started to learn everything I could about the home, and I became an energy auditor and learned about solar panels and rainwater systems and even septic systems and just everything. I wanted to learn everything myself. And so I was able to do everything for these home buyers, so I could save them a lot of money because they wouldn't have to call a pool company and a termite company and a well company. They'd be like, just call Brett. Brett does all of it. And so I could make more money myself being out there, and it was easy for the realtor to refer me to the home buyer. So I was doing 3 a day. It was the first time in my life where I was ever making any kind of money, you know. And so hired a guy, got busy, hired a second guy, hired a third guy, and then came out with an app, and then I started to franchise that business, and so it's called Property Doctors, and it's still rocking and rolling in Austin. And while I was doing that, I was dating a girl, and she was an international relief nurse, and we had met in Hawaii, but she was in Austin at the time. And she said she wanted to take an acting class. And she's like, will you come with me? I was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to come. You know, I don't think that's my thing. she's like, please come. And I was just like, just a dumb kid. I was like, no, I'm not an actor. I'm not a thespian, blah, blah, blah. I'm too cool. And so she's like, all right, I'll go by myself. So she goes to this acting class, and she pulls over on the way, and she calls me crying on the side of the road. She's like, I'm so nervous. Will you please just come to the first one? So I'm like, yeah, I'll come to the first one. So I go to the acting class, and the acting teacher was Mona Lee, who I love to death, and she was the mom in Dazed and Confused, and she like went to Juilliard full ride for acting, just amazing woman. And she was like, Brett, you need to do this. And I was like, no, like, she's like, you don't understand. I was like, I'm not an actor. Like, I'm the most unemotional person on the planet. Like, I don't want to be an actor. She's like, yeah, but you could be a stuntman because all the stuff you do. You could do home innovation stuff. You could do survival stuff. You could blah, blah, blah. I had went to a SWAT school before, but I would have had to go back to college to get on the FBI, and I just decided not to go back to college. And she said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you free acting classes if you do some work on my house. And I was like, deal. Fine. All right. So I refinished her floors. I fixed part of one of these beams in her house. Her bathtub was leaking. It had rotted out a beam, and then I was just helping her replace some wood rot and things like that. And I soundproofed her studio, just small stuff like that. And she goes, Brett, can you play golf? And I was like, yeah, sure, I can play golf. She's like, are you any good? I was like, I don't really play anymore, but I used to be pretty good, you know? And she was like, there's a Robert Duvall movie in Fredericksburg, which is about an hour and a half outside of Austin. And she said, do you want to try to be a stunt double on this golf movie? I was like, yes, see, now we're talking. Like, stunt double sounds cool. That's right up my alley. So I was like, yeah. She was okay. I was like, what does golf have to do with stunt double? She's like, oh, like stunts can be like walking down a hallway or sprinting down a hill. I was like, oh, I thought I was getting like blown out of a building. Like, what are we talking about here? And she's like, just go, dummy. So I go down there, and I hit some golf balls for the directors and stuff like that. And they're like, you got it. Yeah. And the lead actor was named Lucas Black, and I was his double. He's a phenomenal golfer. He didn't need like a golfing double. But what I learned is my first time being on a movie set, and I realized that, they don't have time for him to make a 40-foot putt and pay 300 extras in the background as the audience. They need him to go do his acting thing. And so they can just make me blurry, and I can sit there shaking, nervous as hell, trying to make these long putts and stuff like that. And then I was like, hey, do you mind?
Did you make them?
The first one I totally shanked. I was so nervous. And then I slowly started to kind of get the groove back because I had been playing golf, kind of oversold myself. I do that a lot. And then they're like, do you want to do a car scene? I was like, yeah. They're like, okay, we need to peel out in the car. I'm like, heck yeah. Like, have you done silicone tires before? I was like, like, okay. I was like, what does that mean, silicone tires? And so I guess they spray silicone on the tires so it spins more. And so I hit a curb on accident, and things like that. And so that I met some cool people on set. And then I did a stunt thing for a Chevy commercial. And then I did a stunt thing for an anti-smoking commercial. It's hanging off the back of this 18-wheeler, spraying people with cigarette smoke. And then I started doing a lot of like small stunt stuff. And it was fun. It was fun for me because it was construction sounds awesome and it can be a lot of fun, but like it's hard work. And I had always done it. So it was really fun for me to do something that I had never met an actor. I never knew anybody who was in the entertainment business at all. So it was really exciting for me and fun. And it was like, you guys are paying me triple what I get for framing a roof. Yeah. And like, I had a guy holding an umbrella over me so I didn't sweat. And like, it's just so the makeup doesn't run and somebody has to come do it. But like, you're like, I like this way better. Like, this is cool.
Service.
Right? Yeah. You're like, this is way cooler. Yeah. So and so then I got asked to host a show about new homes. And so I was traveling, hosting a show about new houses, talking about how energy efficient new construction is versus old construction. And then I'm a terrible host. I say all the time. I still do it. Every time I say it, I'm like, ah! But it was fun. It was exciting, and it was different, and it was something that nobody in my life had ever done. So I felt like it was for me, and I was moving forward for me. So
Caught the bug.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to rush you, but I want to make sure we have time for your music stuff too.
Yes.
So, but I just want to talk real quick. But one of the shows that you chose to do, the Treasure Quest show, crazy. Like you say your agent didn't want you to do it, but you did it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but there's piranhas, venomous snakes, all kinds of stuff, and you're like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, I was. People magazine just did the story where they're like, Brett Tudor was at rock bottom. It wasn't at rock bottom. I made a comment about how I was just kind of at a low point. The relationship didn't end, and I was just like I said, it was just, it was weird. It was like every door was just closing, and I was pretty down at the time. And my agent goes, he sends me an email, and it goes, the subject title was, "I don't want you to do this, but ... And I just saw the Discovery Channel logo, and I was like, yes, I don't even care, like, done. And they're like, they're interested in having you be a survival security expert for a treasure hunting team in South America. I was like,
yeah, sounds good.
They're like, well, we need to, I was like, no, we don't need to talk about it. Like, I'm done. Like, send me the contract. They're like, well, they're like, you're really going to be in the jungle, and there's like snakes and blah, blah, blah. It's a pretty dangerous area. I was like, I don't, just send me the contract. Like, let's do it. A few weeks later, I'm in Argentina on a treasure hunting team. And it was crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Was there ever a moment, because I just watched it, where you were like, oh, what did I just get myself? Like, send me home.
Like, every day. I remember, like, there were so many moments, but, I mean, I remember being asleep and feeling spiders, like, multiple spiders on me. And I remember being like, oh, it got to the point where that was completely normal. You know, like, and I remember, like, this is not normal. Like, it's just so, we were so in the middle of nowhere.
Well, in like episode 1, you're getting the snake that's in
the Jarada snake. Yeah, it was like the most venomous snake ever. Yeah. And so I'd done a little bit of snake training a long time ago, but it was, and I was so excited. I was going to do everything. And looking back, it was stupid. It's a fun show. Like, I should watch it. It was crazy. But
were you happy when you made it home? Like, I'm back home alive.
I got so sick. Oh my gosh, yeah. I broke 2 ribs. It didn't go in the show. I broke a few ribs. I got super sick. But yeah, it was wild. Like, it was really crazy. I mean, we were way out there. Yeah. A lot of crazy stuff.
Any moments when you thought you actually might die?
Yeah. Yeah, I jumped in this waterfall. I shouldn't have done that. I hung off the back of this rock, almost fell off. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, people see the show part of it, you know, but we're there 24 hours a day for months, you know, so a lot of stuff happened when there were no cameras around. Like, we were what's called the drug triangle, but it was the border of Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. And there's nothing around there. So, like, that's the spot where they do a lot of human trafficking and drug trafficking. And so you'd be sleeping and you'd see these gunshots and, like, it was just, I remember, like, part of the production, they saw this guy getting chased by these guys with guns and stuff, and we had to leave. And we were like, we had these little inflatable Zodiac boats, and I was just cruising up in the Paraguay where we weren't supposed to be. It was like being a kid. Like, I felt like I was like a little kid just getting to explore, like, in a Indiana Jones movie. Like, it was so crazy. It was so fun. It took me a while to, like, come back to real life when I got back. You know, because, like, stop sign. I don't do stop signs. You know? So it was fun. It was crazy. It was cool.
All right. Well, I want to make sure we have time to talk about your. Well, I guess actually, let's do your Instagram first. We'll do a couple quick of your shots of your Instagram, so people get just a taste of what's out there, where they could follow you and see some of your adventures. I'm a huge Airstream fan, so this is your Airstream.
That's my baby. Yeah, so that was I bought that a couple years ago, and it was nasty when I bought it, and I renovated the whole inside, and I knew it was kind of cool, like it was going to be fun, but I didn't realize how much I was going to love it. And so I was like, earlier this year, I just was like, I'm going to Colorado. So I just drove to Colorado in it, kind of like figuring it out and all that. And then I was like, oh, I can live on public land in the middle of nowhere, because I have a solar panel on it. And I was like, I'm going to go to Jackson Hole and fly fish. And I was like, oh, my home is Yellowstone National Park. and you're living at Yellowstone. And then I went to Montana and then Oregon, and then I was at Yosemite, and you're just like, went to the Grand Canyon, went to all these places, and like, that's your home.
Yeah.
And I had Property Doctors, my business kind of runs itself for the most part now, and so I could just stay there. So I stayed out there and I just kept going and going and going. And so living at these national parks and state parks is something everybody should do at some point in their life, because I think we undervalue just how amazing this country is and some of the beauty that we have. That is in Malibu, actually. That's the only way I can afford to live in Malibu.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't that long ago. That was a few months ago. That was fun.
Let's see the next one.
I did that real recent. Yeah, so those are I just sold a couple, but yeah, the back one, the blue one, is my dirt bike, YZ F250. Triumph is my baby. So I bought that. I was a broke kid. I never had more than, I think, $500 to my name till, God, I was probably like 23, 24. Like Hawaii, I was just starving, literally like starving. And when I started doing home inspections in Austin, that part of the story where I started to get busy was the first time I was like, I have $1,000. Oh my gosh. And then the second I got, I think it was like $8,000, I spent it all on a Triumph motorcycle. And so that was my first big purchase I ever made in my entire life. And that was like 100% of my money.
What's her name?
But I had, no, I didn't. I didn't name her. That's just, but like that is, oh my God, I love that bike. And then the mountain bike is, it's a downhill mountain bike, which is for like downhill courses and jumps and stuff like that. So it's a full suspension. That's a bad one. I just got that. So yeah, that's the back of my house.
Well, there are a whole bunch of other pictures, and we're running out of time, so I don't go to his Instagram because there's, like that. Like I'm telling you, there's so many good ones. Where was this at, real quick?
That's Horseshoe Bend. I was in the Airstream driving from the Grand Canyon to Antelope Caverns, and that's kind of in between. That's beautiful. That's a cool spot. That's Antelope Caverns, yeah.
That's on my bucket list.
It's so amazing. Let me know if you go. There's a cooler spot to go to.
Okay.
Yeah, skydiving. I'm like halfway through my license right now, and I've been too busy to finish. That's in Cambodia, so I was at Angkor Wat temples there, kicking it with that dude, who's awesome.
I love the faces.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
That's some of my photography
stuff. This was one.
Yeah, so I was doing a movie in Cambodia and doing stunt work, and that was my first acting thing. And that kid's an orphan, and he was in the movie, and we got super close. He's awesome. Leap, it's my buddy. Oh God. Nicaragua, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, I think.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah, surfing. That looks way better.
Yeah, and this will lead us to the music. So you actually labeled this one your happy place.
This is my happy place.
So let's talk music.
I got a few happy places. This is definitely one of them. So I have always written songs and played guitar. My brother was on American Idol, and he just got the voice. You know, he just can sing. And I've always kind of had a deeper voice, and I just don't have it. You know, but I've always written the songs, and and I've always we've played together. We had a band for a while, and I would always kind of let him sing my songs. And so this was very recent. This is super, super personal to me, but this is the first time that I'm performing one of my songs myself and singing it myself. I wrote the song, I played the guitar, played the lead guitar. I hired the engineer, I hired the producer, I hired the backup singers, I hired the drummer. I literally made the decision on every single part of it. I sang, which was terrifying, and I'm about to shoot the music video myself, and I'm getting into video shooting and editing right now, and so so it's a song called Flower Child. It's on Spotify and iTunes. If you look up Tudor Brothers, it's we got two songs on there right now. One's Firefly, one's Flower Child. But Flower Child, it's out there. I just haven't made the video yet. But Flower Child on Spotify or iTunes by the Tudor Brothers and Tutor. And that's my. It's like it's still kind of vulnerable, you know. So it's Are
you still willing to sing now?
Yeah, I'll sing. Right. I'll do something.
I love it. You're vulnerable, but you say you'll go for it. All right. Well, special treat for everybody. He's gonna actually play the song.
I feel like it's that jazz food. Like, what do you know? Oh, goodness.
So excited. I think it's the first time we've had live music on the show.
So whose guitar
Want to
was
get
this?
that up? So this is, thank you, Dan Greenberger, who office is 4 doors down from me.
Let's do something like.
There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. Too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessman, he drink my wine and I call him in, come and take my herb. None of us here tonight got a clue what love's really worth. No reason to get excited. The thief had kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through this before, and this is not our fate. So let us not talk falsely now. The hours get late. So that's not my song. I'm still so scared to sing. Like,
Awesome,
it's so
though.
terrifying.
But yeah, we do a bunch of different stuff, but it's I can't play that single because it's a totally different type of guitar. But we do a lot of fun type of stuff like that. But check it out, we got a bunch of new music coming up soon. So yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
so obviously stepping into fear isn't something that's hard for you. For people out there, how do you do that? How do you step into fear, whether it's adventures, anything you do in your life?
I could come up with some like cheesy answer, like you gotta just conquer the truth.
Yeah.
Honest to God is I kind of I think it's important to like categorize things in your head, and so if you're like doing something like skydiving or you want to like this still scares the heck out of me, but it's so cheesy, oh my gosh. But I think about fear as a person, and I used to be like, fear is the enemy, I need to conquer the fear and like beat it up type of thing. And then you start to realize as you get older, like you're not invincible, and fear is there to it's there to keep you alive, it's there for a reason. And so instead of like, I've developed a healthy relationship with fear, and the way I think about it in my, because so many people go through life and even relationships with a lot of fear, and we don't we don't realize how much pain we can cause other people with trying to protect ourselves and these survival mechanisms, and fear prevents us from, I'm terrified to sing, but I love being in the music studio, and so the way I think about it in my head is that it's like, did you see Batman with like Heath Ledger and Michael Caine, that one, and Christian Bale? I think about the voice of fear being Michael Caine, like the Alfred the Butler, and then like, so I would be Batman, right? And so it would be weird if Michael Caine was sleeping in the master bedroom at Batman's house or Bruce Wayne's house, or he was driving his car or kicking his feet up on his coffee table. Like the fear doesn't get to win. It's not fear's house. It's your house. It's your mind. It's your life. You're in charge. But I've gone to where, that Michael Caine voice is like when I go skydiving, it's always like, well, what if, dude, like you got this show coming up, and what if you broke your leg, or what if you die, blah, blah. And it's like Michael Caine, like, and I think the British accent helps a lot, but it's like, and you're like, instead of being like, okay, you're right, Like, it doesn't get to win. It doesn't get to decide.
Doesn't paralyze you.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've developed a relationship with her. Like, hey, I appreciate it. You're right. Like, this is dangerous, but I've already decided to do this, so I don't need you today. But thank you for looking out for me. That type of thing. So that's the truth. That's kind of cheesy and weird.
Nah,
but
not at all.
That's how I do it.
A last question before we're going to play a little game before we wrap today.
Okay.
But so now looking back at like your whole life and where you're at to this point, you've talked about doors being closed, you know, different things not taking the traditional route of a lot of people or parents tell us we need to go to college, we need to do this. You know, what are lessons that now you look back and like that you would, you know, tell maybe other people who are on maybe a different sort of path or questioning their path about how obviously it all has worked out and it's leading to now trading spaces and like things are happening for you. So
yeah, I think that at least for me, I know a lot of people out there probably, think that there's something wrong with not doing one thing. You know, some people do. They just know they're 5 years old and like, I'm going to be a veterinarian when I grow up, and they're a veterinarian. Like, they're so lucky, you know, that's great. But most of us aren't. And there's something with our culture right now that somehow is saying that that's not a good thing. And I disagree with that so strongly. Or there's that trait like jack of all trades, master of none. Like, the point is to be a master of yourself, you know, and do what you love. And, you know, life is so short, you know, and it's hard. And people go through a lot, and if you're able to do something that you love, you should do that. And it's just different. It's different for everybody. But if you love something, like, you can be really crappy and get fired from a job that you hate just as easy as you can from if you love music and you start pursuing music, you know. And I think that people are going to work a lot harder and be a lot more successful at something that they love. They're going to put in those extra hours. It's not going to feel like work. It's not going to grind them down, you know. And if you're going to take a chance on something, take a chance on something that you love. And it doesn't have to be one thing, you know. Like, I do home inspections. Am I a home inspector? Sure. But that's just how I pay rent. Like, and I'm really lucky. I got some amazing guys that I work with in Austin. But I'm not just a musician, but I love it. And what happens, I think, as you don't realize, but as you get older, you start to realize that now I'm here talking to you about this stuff because I did those things, right? And so it's weird how things kind of can come together. And so I would just say, if you love something, like, just do it. You know, you got to pay rent. You got to figure that out. But if you can figure out a way to pay your bills with something that can give you the flexibility, that's to do what you love. If you have something that you love, that's so much more valuable than finding a job that pays you $100,000 a year that you hate on a career path that, I got to get this job and get this experience and do X, Y, and Z. But like, no, you don't know what's going to happen. You know, do what you freaking love. If you can find a job that supports, just pays rent, and you're able to just do what you love, like, that's success. You know, so I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I don't really know, but I would just say, just do it. And if you don't know what you want to do, go travel. Yeah. Just go do everything you can. Go try to be a cage fighter in Hawaii. Enlist, or go do relief work, go in the Peace Corps. Just go, do. Don't be offensive about it. Don't be defensive about it. Don't let that fear voice make the decisions for you, you know? So, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm just here so far. I don't know, still figuring it out.
All right, great advice. I would also say, you talked earlier about listening to the gut or those voices, you know, that you hear too. I think probably led you where you needed to go too.
Yeah, you know, nobody knows you better than you, so you got to listen to that stuff.
All right, before we wrap, quick little speed round, just quick questions. You can just fire answers right out. Okay, beer, whiskey, or wine?
Ooh, I'm wine recently because I love old fashions. That's always kind of been my drink, but I'm trying to drink a little less, honestly. So I'm just wine. Cab, I like cabs.
Okay, dogs or cats?
Dogs. Oh my gosh.
What's on your bucket list?
Oh my gosh. This year, swim with whale sharks. I want to skydive out of a hot air balloon. I want to go to New Zealand. I'm building a downhill track in my backyard for the mountain bike. I want to have my own nonprofit. I'm trying to have this kind of bucket listing where I'm trying to make some things happen with a nonprofit. And then I want to, I feel like this is amazing and I love where I'm at, but like, this is all moving towards something. And so my bucket list is really kind of this top secret thing inside of me for something that I'm kind of working on that I'm keeping close to the chest for now.
All righty. What scares you?
Singing, music. Oh my gosh. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's ask this one. Since it's Valentine's Day is tomorrow, what's your idea of the perfect date?
Oh gosh, just something not. I don't like all the hoopla and all the grandiose stuff. Just I like being outdoors, and I just going and surfing or going on a hike or going rock climbing even. It doesn't have to be crazy and scary, but just doing something, I think physical, having some fun, and then just, I don't know, sitting down having a bottle of wine.
All right. Where's your happy place?
Oh gosh, making music, surfing, skydiving, been in the mountains, got a lot of them.
Last one, Austin-based. Have you ever skinny dipped in Hippie Hollow?
Not Hippie Hollow, Barton Springs I have. But
Wow. So where other people wearing clothes, you skinny dipped.
It's a big group thing. It's weird. Austin's got plenty of weirdness, but not Hippie Hollow. But there's lots of naked people there too, if that's what you're into.
Awesome. All right. So before we wrap up, I did want you, I was going to have you talk a little bit about the nonprofit, or people can find out more information about that.
Oh, yeah. It's called Off the Grid International, otgi.org. And it's super simple. It's not some big organization. We don't keep literally one penny. We don't even keep 1 penny of a dollar for the organization. We don't have a marketing budget or advertising, or I pay the website fees. We don't have any employees. It's just me and a couple buddies who do home inspections for me. And what we do is we go alongside the Peace Corps, and we build rainwater systems and septic systems in third world countries, basically just trying to educate and provide sustainable way to prevent bacterial diseases, primarily in kids and people with weaker immune systems. And it's super small. I pay for almost everything. We get some donations, but if you want to donate, 100% of your donation will go towards the cause, 100%. And hopefully one day we'll be able to do bigger stuff with that, build some sustainable schooling systems and be able to educate young women and in these remote areas. And really it's these remote areas getting resources to them. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, very nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was wonderful to hear your story. Thanks for playing.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Tell everybody one more time where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, just my name, Brett Tudor, BRETTTUTOR, like the fart. And on Instagram, I guess.
All right. Well, that's it. We'll see. I'm JJ Jurgens. You can follow me at TomGirl TV, and we'll see you here again next week. Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.